Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 211 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of August 23rd through the 29th, 2021. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe trunk. We are, excuse me, got choked up on that trunk. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studio in the lab at Industry Hill. We are practicing social distancing and using Zoom, sponsored by Bulls Tavern. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, or Spotify, or any of those, we'd appreciate a like, a follow, and a rating. It would help us tremendously. And hit the subscribe button so you can know when the next ones are out, the new ones are out. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, welcome and thank you. This episode of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Diamondback Grill. It is a casual dining location here in the heart of Buena Vista and Winston-Salem. It's a fantastic family-owned farm-to-fork restaurant that sources most of its ingredients from local farmers. Try one of their themed specials. We didn't go there this week. Usually we go there at least once a week, and we just didn't get over there. I do love it over there, though. The staff is always really cool, and the owners are awesome. The food is nothing shy of delicious. If you don't like it, then it's something you already didn't like, and you didn't know
it. I hear you. So did it just feel kind of weird for your week to not have some Diamondback in it?
It did not necessarily feel weird. It's just, there's a hole in my heart now because I didn't get over there this week.
So now you'll have to go twice this week.
Yeah, we'll work on that one. But anyway, I highly recommend Diamondback for your big and small events, your romantic dinner with your honey, or just go have a drink and appetizer and enjoy the ambiance and welcoming decor. They do catering as far as I know. So if you have an event, give them a call and talk to them. It's 336-722-0006. They are located at 751 Avalon Road. Find them on the web at diamondbackgrill.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Diamondback Grill. And of course, tell them that I sent you. As is usual, everyone's still hiring. Get a job. Cody's Smokehouse Barbecue closed on July 31st, and no one knew it because they don't update their social media, or they didn't. Also, they didn't do much advertising of anything anywhere. It would have been, I wouldn't have even known this had I not been at Papa Lee's and Cody was there. And Lee asked me, hey, have I ever been there? And Cody says, well, if it wasn't before July 31st, then no. He said the food cost was too high. He was naming costs of shoulders and other cuts of pork and so on. And because I'm not in the industry, I don't know what that means, but it sounded like it was high for him. He said it just wasn't sustainable. I get that. But also, if you don't put yourself out there, no one knows you're there. I'm just saying. I hate to hear a place closing down, and I especially hate hearing it almost a month after the fact because they didn't tell anybody.
Well, it fits with their overall strategy, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to bother to tell anybody that we're here or what we have to offer or anything about us. And so not only are they not going to come, they won't know that we've closed.
That's right. Right. Yeah, there may have been a different story there had they did regular postings or had someone else do postings for them or whatever. They could have probably survived the rate hike if they had regular. Now, I'm sure they had some regulars, but even on the Facebook page, when the only thing, back when Leah and I started this list, they weren't on it. And they sent an email to me asking me to put them on. And I did. And, we link that to their Facebook page. And the reason we use Facebook is because it is universal for most people. And even if you Google it, if their webpage doesn't come up, which I don't even know if they have a webpage, then the Facebook page comes up. And that's again, the universal go-to for directories for what's going on, hours and all that stuff. Especially, your website generally isn't going to have, oh, sorry, we're closed today because of a leak in the toilet or something. Whereas Facebook is somewhat instantaneous and you can do that way. But when I got there was only one post, and that's still the only post that's been there. And there was only one reply to that asking about a special order port something. So
when somebody's telling me that it all comes down to they can't seem to source their ingredients at a price that they can afford, one, how many other places did you actually ask? Because there's competition out there.
Yeah.
And if you think you've got somebody on a low price, go to their competitor and say, all right, beat this, and we're going to do business. A lot of times they'll say yes, because they're wanting that money too.
Mm-hmm.
You can charge what it's worth. People will pay for what it's worth.
Yeah. And if price goes down, then decrease the price.
Drop your price.
Yeah.
It's the classic blunder that I have said for decades now. It's odd that I can say that it really has been decades. There's 3 things a business must do or they will fail. They must tell people who they are, where they are, and what they do.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, when you do that, people come. And when people come, they come back. And they tell other people. And over time, it continues to grow. But you cannot rely strictly on word of mouth. You've got to do some of that marketing yourself. Period. If you're trying to stay in business, tell them who you are, where you are, what you do. It's that simple.
Yeah. I love how you call it the classic blunder. It reminds me of Princess Bride. You fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is which never getting involved in the land war in Asia. But only slightly less known is this: never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Inconceivable. Yeah.
I'm impressed that you were able to say all of that at one time.
I love that movie.
What a great movie.
I have a friend who says that there is no situation in life that cannot be matched to a quote from Princess Bride.
The first time I saw that movie, I had absolutely no idea what was coming.
Uh-huh.
It was one of those few movies that absolutely, completely took me by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, it's one of the few that I actually own. It's like that. Oh yeah, that one I want to be able to watch when I'm in the mood for The Princess Bride.
It was about a year ago. We had when it's not ridiculously hot and other things going on in the world, I like to show movies on the side of my house. And we had a group of people, including Jeff Davids and his wife Linda, and Melissa Curran, and some of the Beer Dads folk. And we were going back and forth on Messenger about whether it was going to be Princess Bride or This Is Spinal Tap. So we get to a spot and someone, and it was going to be Spinal Tap, and someone says, but I've never seen The Princess Bride either. And because they hadn't seen either one of them. I think it was Melissa, actually. She thought Spinal Tap was going to be scary because it sounds like it could be. And I said, no, trust me, there's nothing scary about this other than it really happens.
The stupidity is scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think she said, I've never seen either. And that tipped the scale to one more for Princess Bride. So we watched that. And it was great to see it on the side of the house, truthfully.
Oh, with a group of people.
Yeah.
Oh, what a wonderful way to do that. In fact, both of those are movies that I own because I love both of them.
Yes. Both of them, oddly enough, Rob Reiner films.
He's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
But if it was a choice between Princess Bride and Spinal Tap for the first one to introduce him to, Princess Bride, yeah, hands down,
Absolutely.
that was the right choice.
Yeah.
But she's got to get her butt back for the next one.
Yeah.
And then watch Spinal Tap. You
Yeah.
got to see both.
Yeah.
You cannot neglect either.
That's right. Because that one goes up to 11.
Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail,
Right.
the Star Wars saga, all of them. Don't care what you think about them, but you need to see them all.
Mm-hmm.
The Matrix,
The first
all
one.
of them.
Oh, come on. The first one. The second and the third were quite poopy.
I still liked them, and I loved the whole.
I love the
whole
visual,
thing.
but
Yeah.
the first one kind of made sense. The second and third, especially the third, certainly did not make any sense.
Oh, the final showdown with Neo and the computer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, I really dug those. And then the Marvel series.
Yeah, the MCU. Yeah.
So, I mean, those are like, if you haven't seen those, to me, those are like in my very top.
and I would go one further, and you may not agree with me, but the entire Harry Potter series.
Oh, yeah, of course, the Harry Potter
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what you
Yeah.
think of J.K. Rowling, because she is a loony, fruity loon. She's a nut bar, and I was thinking my Porky Pig imitation not on purpose. She's a nut bar, but
Brilliant writer.
oh yeah, and
Brilliant.
those characters are easy to get sucked into. You're fully invested in those characters by the time you get through.
Yeah, she's one of the few authors that I just dove straight through as fast as I could. I did have to wait for the last 3 to actually come out.
Yeah.
So I was waiting a little bit for the series to finish. But when the 7th book came out, I bought it on a Saturday morning, and by Sunday night I was done. I did absolutely nothing but sit on the couch and read, and occasionally wander into the kitchen and throw something in my mouth between flipping pages.
And occasionally into the bathroom to get real what you throw in your mouth.
I think I went to I'm not sure. I remember the book.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a food podcast, and we totally got off on stuff that is not relevant to food, although they did have food in those movies.
They did.
You know, the Lutton tomato and lettuce sandwich, and when the mutton is just sliced so lean. All right. Okay. So anyway, have fun storming the castle. Quanta Basta is having a wine and dine this Wednesday from 6:30 until. The cost is $74 a person, not including tax or gratuity. Seating is very limited, but you can call 336-893-6144. That's 336-893-6144 for more information and reservations. It's 4 delicious chef-crafted courses with 6 authentic Italian wines. One of the veggies and bruschetta and cheese is one course. Branzino is one. Roasted mushrooms and eggplant over gnocchi with Castelmango cheese and hazelnut and truffle honey. Charred tomato and herb roasted rack of lamb over white bean ram confit ragu with rosemary demi and a strawberry delight, whatever that is. So that's just the food. I can't and won't attempt to pronounce the wines. Just know that they're Italian and they're going to be delicious both alone and with the food. If you do make reservations, tell them, of course, that I sent you.
And when you get there, ask them how to pronounce the wine. They'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. Well, they'll probably announce it as they're giving it to you. This is the... Hey.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
I've always liked that thing.
Yeah. The is my favorite flavor of grape. So...
It's part of my favorite flavor of alcohol.
yes. In an example of separate your politics from your business, and if you don't follow King's Hot Dogs on Facebook, you're missing out on some comedy gold as far as their posts go. Now, according to what your politics are, you may have to look past some of the posts but the ones that aren't politically motivated are pretty funny. I just wanted to say that, especially when they're like mainstream messages like hiring and things like that. It's just funny stuff. And again, it's funny if you're not into the same politics with them too, because you think funny things about the people. So just go with it. Check them out. Carrabba's Italian Grill is located at 587 South Stratford Road, and it is no chain. This is a responsible family of restaurants. Carrabba's and their owner partners take the communities they serve quite seriously. And for us, Daniel Butner is an asset to the community and just a great person, and glad he's there. They are still featuring their iconic dish, the chicken brine, and I still say, if you're going to do that, why not go with the Johnny? That's the Tuscan grilled sirloin marsala, yes, and the chicken brine on the same plate. I think you can upgrade the steak option too. It starts with a 7-ounce. You can go to a 10-ounce sirloin or a 9-ounce filet. Whatever you go with, just go with it. Go have it. Check out more, find out more at Carrabba's.com. You can make reservations there. You can order to go. And if he's in a good mood, you could probably just call and shoot the breeze with Daniel.
There you go.
I wouldn't suggest doing that right now because he's like slam busy, but you never know.
He's a delight to talk to. He really is.
Now, if you do that, don't tell him that I said to do it.
Right.
Tell him that I said you should go eat there and make reservations. But if you just plan on shooting the breeze, I did not say that.
Yeah. So maybe just go have a drink and sit there and have a chance to talk to him.
Yeah. They have some great sangrias there. And they have a full ABC license. So if you can sit at the bar and just, catch him coming through, he'll stop and talk to you. No matter how busy he is, he always finds a way to do that. So go check him out. Carrabba's.com. On Saturday, Stephanie and I were very much enjoying the fact that we had reached the weekend and we were both in dire need of it. We had gone record shopping, and instead of getting in our car and deciding where to eat and debating that for 25, 30 minutes, I just put our record haul in the car and said, hey, let's go. And we walked around the corner to Moselle's. We had this lovely white port spritz that they had, which was white port with soda water and lemon juice, and it was fantastic. And
this
just what we needed.
Posted.
Yeah,
that looked really good.
It was really good. I love port, and I like white port too. So having that was really good. And the prices for their alcohol, they don't have a lot of mixed drinks. They have one or two things, but it's more what can we mix with a wine than it is like full-on mixed drink. So, but yeah, go check out Moselle's for that, if nothing else. And then we had some delicious food from Chef Jay Pierce and his staff. Stephanie had the avocado toast, which was, avocado toast. There was also cilantro, lime, cream cheese, and watermelon radish slivers and an over easy egg on each piece. What was cool was the egg had actually slid off. It moved off the top of. I don't know why I'm having these Porky Pig moments today.
But slid was right. It's the right word. You were good.
Yeah, it slid off the toast, and she moved it back, and it was so over easy that when she put it on the toast, it broke itself and just spread right perfectly over top of the toast. So it was fantastic. There was probably more that went into it than that, but I was in I'm not working right now mode, even though really I was working. I had the huevos rancheros, 2 over easy eggs, corn tortillas, black beans, queso cotija, pepper jack cheese, sour cream sauce, radish. That's the watermelon radish. Cilantro, ranchero sauce, and pico de gallo. I wish I had asked for a protein like chorizo or chicken, but the flavors without that even were really good. So that's what we had.
Sounds like a great visit.
It was, and it was an easy Saturday afternoon. I mean, it was probably 12:30. So it was early in the day, and this was light. Even though it sounded like we had a lot of stuff, it was very light, and really not that either one of us had a bad week last week. It was just a hectic week, just the same way this one's starting off. But it was just, it's the weekend, and yeah, let's just enjoy it. And that's exactly what happened. And that's a great place to do that. We sat at the bar, but even if you're sitting outside, because Saturday the temperature wasn't ridiculously hot. It was like in the mid 80s on Saturday. So it was ripe even for people sitting outside. It was ripe for a good time.
That's part of the appeal, I think, of Moselle's. What I've always appreciated is they've got such a good vibe there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a Southern bistro. And while there is pimento cheese on some things, it's more of a bistro than it is the pimento cheese part. And you know how I just am about, I mean, I love pimento cheese, don't get me wrong, but I don't need it on everything if I'm in the South, you know? But yeah, Moselle's is just a great place. It sits on the corner, and it's kind of it reminds me of something from up north, you know, like not necessarily in like Boston, but in the towns outside of Boston.
Okay.
At Cambridge or something. It reminds me of a little bistro that would be there.
Yeah,
so
I could see that.
Yeah. And that's what I love about that corner, because you have the 4th Street filling station, Bernardin's, that, and West End Cafe all right there, and Joiners now too. So it's just a lot of really cool things on that corner. It's a happening place now.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those corners you really kind of need to make sure you visited every one of those.
Yeah.
If you really want a flavor of Winston, there you go.
Yep. And
that corner says a lot.
And while you're there, go to the next corner and go to City Beverage. If you for everything you're wanting alcohol, I mean, not liquor, of course, because we have weird ABC laws here, but beer and wine, they have it. And right up on the other side of that, right behind Moselle's, you have Honeybee.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget them. And then basically across the street from them and City Beverage is Underdog Records, which I always recommend because it's a good place to get your record collection started. Sorry, I keep going off on all these tangents. It's not food related, but yeah, that's what I do.
Well, and then I forget what they're calling it now. There's the store that sells all the Winston-Salem apparel.
Camel City Goods.
The street. Camel City Goods, yes.
Yep.
Another great little spot, some really cool stuff. It's like, if you want something to do, if you want a Saturday morning fun, go park down there, hit Underdog, go over and visit Camel City, go get you something from Brittany, and then cross the street and get you something to eat. I mean, you could spend hours down there and have a blast.
Absolutely. And when Joiners opens back up on Saturday afternoons, it's a little corner bar that may or may not, Herbie Gimmel, the owner, mentioned to me that they planned a food concept there, but they're going to have to work that in somehow. But but anyway, when Joiners is open, and that's good. And then you're just 2 blocks away from our favorite thing to talk about every week is Yamas. Yeah, or Foothills if you want the brewery experience. Keep going. Danielle's not open that early on Saturdays, but at 4:00 they open, and you can go to Bull's Tavern. Jeffrey Adams. I mean, I could go all the way down that street, and there's so many cool things to do.
Yeah. And to think 20 years ago, nope.
No. So 4:30, everybody left because they didn't want the chance getting stuck when the sun went down.
But even 20 years ago, the filling station was there. Bernardin was here, but not there.
Yeah, it was over off Jonestown.
West End was still there.
West End's where Moselles is now.
Oh, is that where they started?
They started where Moselles is, yeah.
Because the first time I ever went there, they had already moved into the space they are now. But yeah, that corner down there has been pretty cool for a long time.
Yeah, it has, and it's easily accessible too. Not meaning driving there, but it's not in the hubbub of downtown. You're in the West End, basically. So I am teaming up with Explore Winston-Salem, which is an Instagram-based business, but they have a new website, explorewinstonNC.com. Christy Bellis left her job to take on the events and happenings around town and bring them to you, and not just food stuff. In fact, she really doesn't focus on the food part at all. I think that's where I came in. We will have her on the show sometime in September. Unfortunately, Ray, that's after you leave us, but she's yes, right. She's a COVID bride, so she and her husband are going to finally get to have their reception and go on their honeymoon.
Nice.
Yeah. So once she's back from there, she realized this was taking all her time, and people were paying her sponsorships for doing it. So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna focus on it all the time, and that's cool. So we're gonna team up and make some things happen.
Cool. I'm excited to see what that'll do.
The dates have changed, as I have mentioned. Eat Drink Burger Week has moved to September 19th through 25th. After consideration, they decided to move it up there. The Winston-Salem Journal and the Greensboro News and Record and Eat Drink Triad will have Eat Drink Burger Week. It will celebrate culinary creativity and increase visibility to the local establishments, and bring people hopefully in there to have good food or good burgers. And we know that I'm all about good burgers. And and there are prizes or at least a trophy and bragging rights for the chefs and restaurateurs. And then there's a chance for the consumer to win a Yeti cooler. So
nice.
When you go to your next picnic, then you have plenty of ways of doing that. So the Man Who Ate the Town is a media sponsor for this event. For more information, contact the Winston-Salem Journal or Greensboro News and Record at 336-727-7212. I believe the deadline for restaurants to get in has passed, but if you call them and offer them whatever the entry fee is, I'm pretty sure they'll go, money, okay, and take you. So, but don't count on it. But there is a chance that will happen. So,
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you may not get all the full benefit at this point, but you could probably still get on the contest. Meaning that you might not be in the printed guide or something like that.
Right. But still, you'd be there and be a part of a big event. So
right, you'd probably be able to be put on the website even if you weren't on any of the printed materials. So, again, this weekend, and we are not necessarily tweaking what we're doing, but how we're doing it. Not the countries themselves, but when. Because football season's coming up, and I don't want to be slaving in a kitchen all day while the football games are going on. So it may be that we do the country spinner things on Saturdays. So we are still tweaking how we're going to do that and still be able to enjoy our Saturday, because I don't want to take away from the Saturday.
Right.
And it could be that we move to just one weekend a month to do this, and that might spread things out a little bit further, but the food will still be unique because I'll be doing them, and we will still do it. So we're not giving up on anything. We're just trying to figure out how we can do it and still enjoy our lives and not take away from living that to again, it's just me. Stephanie will help whenever I ask her, but I'm doing all this, and the planning, not the shopping, we do that together, but all the cooking, which a lot of times requires me to start either the day before or early that day, and then we don't eat till 8 o'clock. And I've been, no way I could be a chef. Not in a restaurant that's feeding a lot of people. If I was a personal chef and only had to feed 2 people, that might be different, but I could not do a food service. But anyway, Yemen is still up there, so there'll be Yemeni food coming soon.
Well, it makes sense. The whole point of this was for your fun and to explore and try some new stuff. It's supposed to serve you, not the other way around.
Right, exactly. And not that it wasn't prior, but I know what's coming. And I wait from February all the way to September for football season to come back. And when it's here, I don't want to do much of anything on Sundays.
Right.
So yeah. So
maybe we could look for, like, just for football season, look for local restaurants that might feature international foods, and then actually get them to come in and talk about it.
That's a possibility. I don't know where I'm going to find anyone locally doing Yemeni food, but
probably not Yemeni.
Yeah.
So Yemen may, again, it serves you. It may move back till after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll see. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah. That might be a thing. Yeah. But I also don't want to take the randomness away from the spinner, because I'd still be at the mercy of what's available around here.
Yeah, you're right.
So that may not work that way, but it might be something we could do otherwise in addition to. So that's a good idea.
I like the internationals.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So Burger Week, or not Burger Week, Burger Tour.
What's going on with the Boigas?
Now, I only had one official burger and no unofficial burgers this week. My doctor told me not cut that crap out. So I'm having to be more mindful of how much I have the unofficial burgers, and I really only had time for one official burger. So this one was from Hero House. Our friend Paul Jones had recommended it to me at the beginning of the tour, and it was smash burger like in style. I don't know that it was a smash burger, but it looked like it. I can say though, because I won't talk about it, I'll just say I'm glad I had it. That's the best I can say. Not the best I can say. That's all I'm going to say.
If someone were having lunch with you and you happened to be at the Hero House and they said, I'm going to order the burger, you wouldn't say, God, no, don't eat that.
Oh, no, not at all. I would say that would be probably a good choice.
Get the cheese.
Yeah. And maybe the Avgalemino soup. But no, I would not dissuade them from trying that burger. Yeah.
I love Hero House. I love the fact they've been there forever. It's, just kind of that unsung landmark. People forget to tell people to go to Hero House because they just do.
Well, because people try to avoid Stratford Road like the plague, and especially during the busy afternoon is a little rough. Luckily, though,
but it's worth the visit.
Oh, it certainly is. And during the beginning of the pandemic, they were a little more conscious about social media, and they were talking with me a good bit. They're on my side of the list, or now the whole list is my list, but it was on my side of the list. And I believe my sister went to school with one of the owner's kids.
Oh, cool.
And I say kids as in just their offspring, because my sister is 42 years old. Now. So yeah, I believe they're involved somehow too. Anyway, Hero House on Stratford Road. I'm not going to tell you shouldn't have that burger, because if I did, I would just be doing you a disservice. So let's go with that. And that's all I've got to say about that. The food holidays are sponsored by Mojito Latin Soul Food, your go-to Cuban and Latin-inspired restaurant. Hey, while the weather is still nice, why not go sit under the covered patio and have a delicious Cubano sandwich, or some delicious ceviche or pork belly, or hell, just have a mojito. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it sounds great to me.
Yep, Mojitos Mojito does reservations. They do takeout. They have that patio and delivers to surrounding businesses like Fiddling Fish, Broad Branch, and Wise Man, in addition to others, I'm sure. Check them out on their Facebook page and at MojitoLatinSoulFood.com. Funny that today is on the 28th, the 8/23. It is National Cuban Sandwich Day. Unfortunately, Mojitos is not open on Monday.
So this is one of those times we authorize you to celebrate this day any other day this week that Mojito is open.
Right. Which is, I believe,
you may move
Wednesday.
That day.
Yeah.
It could be Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, go.
Yeah. Yeah. Mojitos. Latin soul food for National Cuban Sandwich Day. Heck yeah.
Is there a better place to go?
No.
Winston-Salem for
no.
a Cuban
that
sandwich?
Cuban sandwich is the best sandwich in town. I've already said that. It's damn it. It's the place to be for your Cubano.
It's the pork that makes it so good.
Well, it's the pork and, well, because ham is pork too. It's all of it. The cheap mustard, the cheap pickles, the boiled ham. It's comfort food in its natural habitat, which is my mouth and stomach. But yes. Also on the 23rd is today National Sponge Cake Day.
Okay.
I like sponge cake.
I don't think about sponge cake, but I like it.
Well, I don't think about it. It's not like, you know what? Man, I could really go for some sponge cake. But if I'm walking by some sponge cake and it says, "Psst, how about me?" And I'm like, all right, this is sponge cake. And today would be the day to do that. Ta-da! See how that works? On the 23rd.
And not SpongeBob. Don't confuse the two.
Patrick! No, don't. On the 23rd, in 1872, the first Japanese commercial ship to visit the United States arrives in San Francisco carrying a cargo of tea.
Tea?
From
China.
From Japan.
Well, yeah, that place. Yeah, that's...
Which, was probably over China at that time. Funny how those little island countries push people around so much. England owned half the world. Japan did. Not an island, but Denmark owned a crap ton of people. The Netherlands, Belgium, all those places, those small places, just like ran in and just took over people. I just find that funny.
Well,
not funny, but
might makes right.
That's right. You're right.
Actually, no, that's entirely wrong, but that's what's happening.
You're right. That's what was going on. Yeah. In 1902, Fanny Farmer opened Miss Farmer's School of Cookery in Boston. So that was good. And she also wrote the first cookbook author to use. She was the Fanny Farmer cookbook, which was first to use standard measurements like teaspoon, tablespoon, cup, and so on.
Interesting that would be the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, because before then it was kind of like, well, throw in a pinch of this and a little bit of that. Yeah. How much is a little bit? Well, not that much.
Yeah.
You just picked it up with your fingers and threw it in there.
It's like, what did it taste like? Oh, it was good. What does good taste like? So it's
like licorice.
Yeah. Chicken tastes like chicken because everything tastes like chicken. And now, I get into a lot of these recipes that are of international cuisine, and I'm running into having to convert grams and kilograms and all that stuff to something that I understand, because what does that mean? I have never used the metric system and don't plan on doing it very much anyway. So,
me neither.
Yeah. So, and put in 300 milliliters of this. What does that mean?
Yep.
I want so badly, even though I know it's ridiculous. Use English. Especially, because it's listening to Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay when they're talking about grams and stuff. That is English.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm being facetious and stupid. So, on the 24th, it's National Knife Day, and that's not just go pull a knife on somebody. That's actual, kitchen knives and the importance of having the right knife for what you're doing, and make sure that it's sharper than all get out, because a dull knife creates ugly food and hospital visits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a sharp knife.
Clarifying that.
Yeah.
Thank you for so we know the distinction. This is not go knife people. It's talking about the professional knife industry.
And while you are still likely to cut yourself with a sharp knife will create a cleaner cut that you may not have to go to the hospital for. Neosporin and a Band-Aid will help a lot in those cases.
A ragged cut, no, that's where you get problems.
Yeah, and that leads to even more things like infections and other things that I don't want to talk about on a food podcast, so I'm moving on. It's also on the 24th, National Peach Pie Day.
Oh.
I can dig it.
What else do you need on that? It's your favorite.
Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream. You got to have that with the peach pie.
Or
it's a law.
Take that peach pie and put just a little bit next to, because it's also National Waffle Day. I think you could have the peach pie next to the waffle and have the vanilla ice cream on both of them.
Ooh, I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
So then we can be a little more creative with the waffle. We could also put some chocolate on there.
There you go. I figured there was some chocolate coming. I was, when you were asking about, when you said it's your favorite thing, I'm like, before you said that, I'm like, chocolate on a peach pie? But then you said, my thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, vanilla ice cream.
Yours is vanilla, yeah. I know.
On the 24th, in 1869, Cornelius Swarthout of Troy, New York, received the first U.S. patent for a stovetop waffle iron. That's why it's Waffle Day.
Interesting.
In 1989, the Holiday Corporation agreed to sell its Holiday Inn hotel chain to the British brewery Bass. And technically, Bass still owns the chain, because they spun off the brewing biz and sold it to AB InBev, but they kept the IHG, or Intercontinental Hotel Group, which also includes, I think, Hampton Inns, and I used to know all those companies, but Holiday Inn is still owned by the family that owned Bass, that started Bass.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yep. The 25th is National Banana Split Day. And the banana split was supposedly invented in 1904 at Strickler's drugstore in Pennsylvania. I think people are challenging that accuracy, but that's what supposedly happened.
There's another opportunity for us to work in the chocolate.
Yes, but also I prefer when you're doing, there should be chocolate, but there also should be the strawberry topping and the pineapple topping.
Ooh.
Okay. And maraschino cherries.
Cherries, yep.
And some whipped cream. Now, I'm not a big whipped cream fan, but on a banana split, that needs to be there.
And light sprinkling of chopped up nuts. Just a little bit.
It's okay if it's on yours.
Are you going to put sprinkles on yours?
No, I don't.
No sprinkles?
No sprinkles. I'm not a sprinkle fan really in any form. I don't like them on my
Oddly
cupcakes.
enough.
I don't like them on anything. Now,
I've never been a fan of sprinkles.
if they're there, I'm not going to go, oh my God, no. Not like I do with asparagus, but I'm not going to turn down the sprinkles. I just don't ask for it.
I wouldn't add it on my own, but if it's already on there, I'll eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not opposed to them. I just don't ask for them. I don't advocate for them either. So it's just sprinkles. All right.
All right, that's the next great political divide in our country. Are you sprinkles or non-sprinkles? Well, I'm an advocate of sprinkles. I think we should all have more sprinkles in our lives.
That's a government conspiracy right there.
They're trying to take away our sprinkles.
Sprinkle feet.
I like mine, the glittery kind.
You know, freedom of sprinkles also means freedom from sprinkles.
I need to be free to express my sprinkleness.
Sprinkleness.
Okay.
All right, our sprinkleness has shown up. The 25th is also National Whiskey Sour Day, which you could
maybe
almost
we should be
say
focused on the whiskey sours.
Yeah.
You'd almost think maybe we had several before we started.
I'm not going to say we didn't, but I'm not going to say we did.
Mum's the word.
On the 25th, in 1840, Joseph Gibbons of Adrian, Michigan, received a patent for a grain drill, the first practical seeding machine.
Like drilling for grain or through a grain?
So I think what it is it's a drill that just allows for better placement of the seeds in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hoping that's what it is. I'm assuming that's what it is.
We'll assume together.
Okay. So then we're both asses if we're wrong. In 1936, Ralph W. Kerr receives a patent for odorless cornstarch. It will not turn rancid and will remain odorless for a long period of time. I was not around in the early 1900s, so I don't know what rancid cornstarch smells like, but I have driven past, and my office was near the corn products plant here in Winston-Salem for a while, and that was pretty rancid. That's bad.
I really don't need to know specifically what that smells like.
Well, it wasn't actually awful. It just smelled like rotten French fries.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like every time you walk outside, but it's just like, oh, that's bad. Luckily, also right around the corner was Royal Bakery, so we had cakes and bread and stuff being baked. So the two smells kind of combated each other, and usually the bakery won. But there were times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In 1958, on the 25th, Momofuku, careful how fast how I say that, Momofuku Ando, the founder of Nissin Foods, markets the first pre-cooked instant noodles, chicken ramen. So,
the world's greatest food.
And something I have never had and can't have. Not the instant ones. Actually, I might have had one or two, but I can't have them anymore because one package of those things is about 1,000 and some percent of your daily allowance of sodium.
I have a solution for that.
Don't use the packets, just use the noodles themselves and put your own spices to it. Yeah, that's great. That's a good idea, but
that's what I do.
That defeats the cheap quickness of it, does it not?
No, actually, not for me. Basically you boil water and you put in their seasoning packet, and once the water boils, you throw the ramen in, and 3 minutes later it's done. So I put the water in the pan, then I put my salt and pepper in there. A lot of times I'll put some curry in there, some onion powder, a little garlic powder, I might throw some minced onion in there. Sometimes I'll even take some frozen peas, throw those in there so they're cooking the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drain all that off, but at least having that in the water, it is absorbed into the ramen, so I get that flavor. It makes it just a touch more expensive, if you will, because I'm providing my own seasoning packet, but I don't get whatever stuff they've got in there that I don't want.
Yeah, that's true.
I make it my way. Yeah,
it's true.
This is one option. Instead of doing the curry, a lot of times I'll throw in basil.
Yeah,
go that direction with it. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. They're very versatile, but you're not tied to that little flavor package. You can throw those away.
To quote not to quote, but to channel my inner Chef John, and anybody who's watched Food Wishes stuff would know what I'm talking about. After all, you are the shaman of your own home-cooked ramen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He likes to rhyme things that just check him out, foodwishes.com, or on YouTube, Food Wishes, anything. He's a great chef, and he does great work, and he does channel things of you are your own creator here, do it the way you want to, and it always has some kind of rhyme in that, and shaman and ramen is the first thing that come to my mind. So
yeah, it's for me, ramen is just the down and dirty version of making a bunch of rice to go with something. I can make that in 5 minutes where it's going to take me 20 if I'm making rice.
Yeah.
So, but I do the same thing to my rice. I put additional seasoning in the water so that I get that flavor absorbed into the rice.
All right. Back to where I was. In 1959, Golden Grain Macaroni Corporation registered the Rice-A-Roni trademark. Give you one guess as to where they're located.
Is it San Francisco?
It would be San Francisco, yes. They first used it 2 years before, but they finally registered it. So that's where we are.
It's a treat.
It is. Specifically for San Francisco. In 1926, it's not 1926. What? 8/26, National Cherry Popsicle Day.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to the cherry popsicle. It's probably my sixth or seventh choice for popsicle flavor, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I won't turn it down, but I'm not reaching for it.
Right. 1728 on the 26th, Johann Heinrich Lambert was born. He proved that pi was irrational. Well, that pi was an irrational number.
It's like, pi feels so rational to me. I can always rationalize having a piece.
Yeah, me too. But 3.14 is not a rational number. Whatever that means.
It's just a number.
Yeah. As far as I know, that number exists. So, I mean, Is it not rational that it's there? In 1883, at 12:53 p.m. on the 26th, the volcanic island of Mount Krakatoa in Indonesia, which at the time was known as the Dutch Indies, began a series of cataclysmic eruptions that ended with a huge eruption on August 27th. It was one of the most violent volcanic events in recorded history.
Yeah, pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I remember it like it was 100 many years ago.
The dust cloud actually affected sunlight on the planet for the next year.
I don't doubt it. Didn't it happen with Mount St. Helens too?
Yeah. But Krakatoa made Mount St. Helens look like a burp.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just saying that happened. Just like the Icelandic volcano in Reykjavik in 2014, because it was happening as we were getting ready to go get married in Scotland.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And luckily the planes could avoid it, but we thought at first that we were going to have to put off the trip because
wow, because they can't fly
because
through
they can't fly through it. No, or not just the dust, but you don't know what might be flying up through that either.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's amazing how high up stuff gets flung when a volcano erupts.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just pressure is all it is,
Yeah.
or the release.
So straight up,
Of
it's going to
pressure.
come right back down.
That's right. That's right. In 1902, on the 26th, Alexander P. Anderson was issued a patent for improvements in the art of treating starch materials. His experiments led to the creation of puffed wheat and puffed rice. So, Rice Krispies can thank him for their existence.
Yeah, no kidding. I thought you were going to talk about, starch shirts there for a second, but no,
No,
different kind of thing.
different kind. In 1930, Philo Farnsworth received a patent for a television system, television apparatus and process. So that's where the actual electric televisions, I don't know what kind of televisions you would have had before then, but the electric television is what they called it, was invented at that point.
Before then, they called it theater.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the thing that you just turn, I guess, the crank. But it wasn't necessarily what we know as TV today, even though that has evolved. But it at least got the process started. In
Let's get it started in here.
Yeah, so vacuum tubes in cameras was invented by him. So,
Interesting.
yeah. In 1966, Gorton Corporation began using Gorton's of Gloucester trademark for frozen seafood.
Yeah, frozen seafood. That is a culinary delight right there.
I think you can, like, if it's maybe not the fish sticks, although I have to admit I'm a fan. But frozen fish is not a bad thing as long as there's not a whole lot of additives and preservatives to it.
Yeah, I'm thinking more about the stuff that comes out square.
Oh yeah. That's what Gorton's does.
Getting a big piece of salmon frozen, because it came from a long way. I'm good with that. Fresh, flash frozen, but
Right.
the square fish.
Right. Yeah, because I don't remember the last time I've seen a square fish.
Looked.
Yeah.
I've looked. I've never seen it.
In 2014, on the 26th, Burger King announced its purchase of Tim Hortons, the Canadian coffee and donut chain. On the 27th, it's Banana Lovers Day and National Pot de Creme Day. And I will tell you, in this town, the place to go for Pot de Creme is the Catherine in the Kempton Cardinal Hotel. It is.
Now tell me why.
Because it's amazing. And it's the only place you can find it. but
What is that?
but it's French. It's basically a chocolate mousse with creme fraiche and stuff. Remember, I showed you the picture, I believe, from the tasting that we did to Catherine, and that was the dessert, one of the 3 desserts.
I was saying, I thought that name sounded familiar.
Yeah. In 1940, Nestle registered the trademark Toll House for chocolate chip cookies. In 1990, on the 27th, 4 men were found guilty of conspiracy to drive up the price of shares of Guinness, makers of the eponymous stout, during a 1986 takeover battle. In 2003, I think I know we talked about this last year, but the world's largest battery was connected to provide emergency power in Fairbanks, Alaska. The $35 million rechargeable battery weighs 1,300 tons, and in the event of a blackout, it can provide 40 megawatts of power for up to 7 minutes, which may not sound like a long time, but it's only there while backup generators are being started. So total city blackouts in Alaska, in Fairbanks, occur every 2 or 3 years due to extreme weather conditions. So that was being proactive on their part.
You're right. That's 7 minutes. Like, what? That's it?
Yeah.
But it generally takes, what, 3 or 4 minutes for a backup generator to actually kick in and then generate enough electricity that you see it.
Right. Exactly. So good for them.
Still, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To think that there's a battery that big.
Yeah. 1,300 tons.
Yeah. Wow.
The 28th is National Cherry Turnover Day.
Oh, a lot of cherries going on this week.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. Well, it's when's cherry season? Me too.
You got me on that. We got to be coming close, I would think. You'd think that'd be summer fruit.
You'd think.
I used to have a cherry tree. I never got cherries off of it because as soon as the tree started to show
the
fruit, the birds took every.
Yeah.
So that usually happened in like May. April, May, we'd start to see fruit, and then there would be no fruit. So,
but lots
guessing,
of seeds.
Yeah. Oddly enough. How'd you know that?
I used to be a bird.
A cherry tree.
I used to be a bird.
You used to be a bird. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense.
On the 28th also is National Red Wine Day. No specific grape is specified, so I guess as long as it's red, which would probably also include rosés, then you can have
since
it.
they didn't specify, if you're a white wine person, take 1 drop of food coloring, and voila, you'll have a red.
Very good. This is true. You might want to put 2 drops. I think 1 would just make it hazy.
2, you get a nice bright red.
That's right. That's right. It's blood red. In 1798, the first American vineyard was planted in, of all places. Do you know?
California?
No.
Napa Valley?
No.
No, not California.
Go ahead.
North Carolina?
No.
No. Trying to think what would be good wine country here.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it was good. I'm just saying the first.
Massachusetts?
That wouldn't be bad because, up north they have decent. No, the first the first American vineyard was planted in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay. Well, not where I pictured it.
No.
If you'd said sour mash, I would have said, well, yeah, that might be. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wine.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't take off very well.
Yeah, because I don't think Lexington's known for their winery.
No.
In 1837, on the 28th, John Lee and William Perrins of Worcester, England, began manufacturing Worcester sauce, which we Americans call Worcestershire.
Mm-hmm.
And people have a hard time saying that. Just remember that the town it's from is Worcester, even though there's an R in there, because that throws people off. Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Yes.
Yeah, that actually helps.
Yes.
Worcestershire.
Yes.
And Lee and Perrins is still one of the top brands in that field.
Yep. Either them or, sometimes I get some store brand stuff, but I like Lee and Perrins, and I'm not opposed to French's. I like French's too. In 1898, at his pharmacy in New Bern, North Carolina, on the 28th of August, Caleb D. Bradham renamed his new soft drink Pepsi Cola. His customers had been calling it Brad's drink.
Brad's drink. Do you think it would be the brand it is today if it stayed Brad's drink?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Much better name to call it Pepsi, even though it doesn't mean anything. It's just
it does, because I believe it comes from if I can't even say it, like Pepsid. It was actually because it was in a drugstore, right? It was meant to try to help alleviate stomach problems.
So like another version of an Alka-Seltzer?
Kinda. Yep.
So there were some medicinal properties originally intended with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then people just said, I already like this.
Yeah, yeah. Can I get that? Are you feeling bad? Yeah, I'm feeling real bad. Can I have that? Burp. Yeah, we're done. That feels much better now.
Yeah, I could see it. I really could.
Are you a Coke or Pepsi person?
I'm a Coke guy. Just always been. To me, Pepsi just seems a little sweet.
Yeah.
Not like Coke isn't, but it just
Coke has a and you know, I've talked about this before. Coke is a little more sharp tasting, and Pepsi is a little more rounded. Now, if I have my cola choice, I'm going with Dr. Pepper over all of them.
Okay.
But I'm actually okay with all of them. I have grown to appreciate Pepsi. I don't drink many soft drinks anymore anyway, but when I'm one of those, I don't like beer with my pizza, but I do like either Pepsi or Coke with my pizza.
Yeah.
It's something about the heaviness of the pizza and then the extra oomph of the cola. So
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Personally, I've almost stopped all soda, just because I've been drinking more water, and actually I do more coffee.
Yeah.
Just brown water. Yeah. Coke is one of those where I'm just happy to have it by itself. Most of the other sodas, it's really, to me, they're more like a mixer.
Yeah.
Coke, yeah.
I will say Dr. Pepper's not a great mixer. Neither is Pepsi, but if that's what you got, that's what you got. But Coke is a great mixer.
My wife's a huge Dr. Pepper fan.
Yeah.
That's her favorite. The Diet Dr. Pepper, light ice.
Okay. The Diet Dr. Pepper is if I'm having a diet drink, which I shouldn't because, again, aspartame and phenylalanine is a neurotoxin. But if I'm going to have one, a diet drink, I would prefer it to be Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I don't like the diets. I'm just, give me a regular Coke. I'm good with that.
Yeah. In 1994, on the 28th, shops around England and Wales were able to be legally opened on Sundays due to a change in the trading laws. And that was 1994. So
I think that it was that late.
Yeah. It was crazy, Brits. In 2000, on the 28th, Foster's Brewing of Australia acquired Beringer Wine Estates of Napa, California, for $1.5 billion. This was split off in 2011 to a whole new division called Treasury Wine Estates. So it's still owned by the same corporate company, but it's not necessarily involved with Foster's anymore. In 2002, Spaniards threw 120 tons of tomatoes at each other at the annual Tomatina Festival in Bunal, Spain. The annual tomato fight is the biggest food fight in the world. It has been a tradition since 1945 when a group of youngsters engaged in a spontaneous tomato fight in the town square. I don't know why they picked 2002 to talk about this, if it's an annual thing, but maybe that was when they first decided to get it together for organized stuff.
That's a lot of tomatoes.
That is a shload. And on the 29th, it's More Herbs, Less Salt Day. I can get behind that.
I love that.
And remember, folks, that salt is sodium, but sodium is not salt. So if you read the stuff on there and say that it's sodium this, it's probably something else besides salt that is in your food. So salt itself is safe in lower quantities. So just remember that.
Yeah, we need salt.
We do.
We need a certain amount.
Your body requires it. So
yeah.
The 29th is also National Lemon Juice Day because in 1749, Sir Gilbert Blaine was born. He was largely responsible for acquiring citrus juice like lemons and later limes on all naval vessels to prevent scurvy, as I talked about last week or the week before. And it's also National Chop Suey Day because in 1896, supposedly, the Chinese American dish chop suey was created in New York City by the Cantonese chef of Chinese ambassador Li Hongchang. So, supposedly. Yeah.
Somebody somewhere made it.
It had to be made somehow. In 1893, 60 independent orange growers formed the Southern California Fruit Exchange, a local union association to market their fruit. In 1933, on the 29th, Doolin Dalton from the Eagles album. Daisy D. Doolin, who was with the Frito Company, registered the Fritos trademark that was used just a year before. So that's your food holidays and history for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, debate the loveliness of ice cream and banana splits and big ass batteries. Yeah.
Just biting my tongue.
The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Beeswax Vinyl Daily, Wheeler's Dog, and Asylum, Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You'll also find social media links to each one there as well. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to get the latest episodes as they are released. This is a reminder to all the listeners, all of you out there. And this is good practice, not just because there's a pandemic, but for always. Don't be a nasty bastard. Wash your hands. Wash your damn hands.
Thank you. You have to say it correctly.
Right. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap. Wash with that soap for about 20 seconds or more. And if you don't know how long that is, sing along to this. I don't know where it's popping up, so we'll go.
Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah.
Probably one of the greatest versions of that song, if not the greatest version of that song. Today marks the 27th anniversary of the release of Grace from Jeff Buckley, who unfortunately had gone through a lot of bad things, drugs and alcohol and all that stuff, but he had gotten himself clean, went for a swim in the Mississippi River, a riverboat went by, and the wake drowned him. So he is the son of Tim Buckley, also a singer. But this Grace was his only studio album, and when it came out, it was mixed reviews, but as time went on, it is highly regarded. It's made it to all the greatest albums of all time lists, and that is, like I said, probably the better known of the recent redos of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. It's probably one of the best. There is one that I like better, but this one really is huge. And the rest of the album is amazing. It's certified 7 times platinum in Australia. It's probably who knows how many times here. Actually, I can tell you. I would know because that's what I do. Is 1-time platinum. But yeah. So check it out.
It's an interesting. I like that version of it. I like the way it sounded.
Yeah, and he did all that just him and the guitar. There's no other instrumentation on that song. Now he has instruments in other songs, but he's got a very unique voice. First time I heard it, I couldn't tell if I liked it, but it gave me chills, and then I realized, yeah, this is really awesome. So go in with an open mind, and I think you'll come out with an open heart for what he's done. And we actually have it was his only studio album. He did have a one of the Record Store Day releases was a, I think, 3 LP release of a show he did at the Cine Cafe in, I want to say, New York City. Could be somewhere else, but the SIN-E with the accent mark on top of it. So okay. I think it's Cine. So.
Yeah, as you were saying before, this is a song that people don't really understand.
Yeah, people that want it at their weddings and stuff. I'm like, really?
Yeah, so the lyrics, well, maybe there's a God above. As for me, all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who outdrew you.
Yeah.
That's what I want at my wedding. Yes.
Yeah. It's talking about, when I guess it's Samson and Delilah about cutting hair and all that stuff.
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew her. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throne. She cut your hair. And from your lips, she drew the hallelujah.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is not a bright, happy, uplifting song.
Right. And Leonard Cohen never meant for it to be. And he was not known for his upbeat and chipper songs either. So
right. Now, beautiful, haunting. The chorus, just that hallelujah, the way that is so, Yeah.
And if you listen on through that, he does a little ad lib at the end, and there seems to be tension and stress and rottenness from the stuff. So I do recommend going and actually listen to the whole album, but if nothing else, listen to that song all the way through. Keep an eye on my blog and this podcast to find out more about the food and news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send an email to Tim at themanwhoatetown.com. Don't forget, Ray is leaving us in 2 weeks. Actually, next week. This is the last. This is the penultimate. But you can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are manwho8thetown. On Instagram, we are manwhoatethetown. And now we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast. You can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422.
No,
I'm going to miss that. Again, I need to make a recording of it. So do that one more time. 336-422.
Numb.
I'll make that.
There.
Okay. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, 336-422-NUMB. 6862.
No. Stop it, Ray.
So for one more week, my name is Tim.
My name is Ray.
And we're closing the recipe trunk. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent
of The Man Who Ate the Town, that's me, and Such and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.